Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We'll continue our reading from Vaisnava Ke. What kind of devotee are you? This is a Bengali poem by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. The verse translation and quotes are from Srila Prabhupada and commentary by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. Hukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurum Deen Tarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Impersonal speculation, monism merging into the existence of the Supreme. So we are continuing the reading from verse number 16. This is part 2 of that verse. Impersonal speculation, monism merging into the existence of the Supreme, speculative knowledge, mystical yoga and meditation are all compared to grains of sand. They simply cause irritation to the heart. No one can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by such activities. Nor do we give the Lord a chance to sit in our heart peacefully. I'll repeat. Impersonal speculation, monism, that is merging into the existence of the Supreme, speculative knowledge, mystical yoga and meditation are all compared to grains of sand. They simply cause irritation to the heart. No one can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by such activities, nor do we give the Lord a chance to sit in our hearts peacefully. Rather, the Lord is simply disturbed by them. Sometimes yogis and jnanis in the beginning take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as a way to begin their various practices. However, when they falsely think that they have attained release from the bondage of material existence, they give up chanting. They do not consider that the ultimate goal is the form of the Lord or the name of the Lord. Such unfortunate creatures are never favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for they do not know what devotional service is. By his practical example, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown us that all the grains of sand must be picked up thoroughly and thrown outside. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also cleansed the outside of the temple, fearing that the grains of sand would again come within. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that even though one may become free from the desire for fruitive activity, sometimes the subtle desire for fruitive activity again comes into being within the heart. One often thinks of conducting business to improve devotional activity, but the contamination is so strong that it may later develop into misunderstanding, described as kutinati, that is, fault finding. And patishtha, the desire for fame and name and fame and for high position. Jiva himsa, that is, envy of other living entities. And nishidhachara, accepting things forbidden by the Shastra. Kama, the desire for material gain, and puja, hankering for popularity. As an example of pratishtha, one may accept to intimate the word kutinati means duplicity. As an example of pratishtha, one may attempt to imitate Srila Haridas Thakur by living in a solitary place. One's real desire may be for name and fame. In other words, one thinks that fools will accept one to be as good as Haridas Thakur because one's life lives in a solitary place. These are all material desires. A neophyte devotee is certain to be attacked by other material desires as well, namely desires for women and money. In this way, the heart is again filled with dirty things and becomes harder and harder like that of a materialist. Gradually, one desires to become a reputed devotee or an avatar, that is the incarnation. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila 12.135's purport. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cleaned the Gundicha temple not only once but several times, each time more minutely than before. The first cleaning was of sand, pebbles, leaves and twigs. The second cleaning was by sweeping dust and dirt. The third cleaning was with the water to wash away stains and the fine dust. Finally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cleaned the filth and grime from the cracks in the stone flooring. Each cleaning demonstrates how carefully and meticulously a devotee should purify the mind and the consciousness while cultivating pure devotional service. To give us practical instructions, so this is very famously documented by Mahaprabhu in the Shikshashtakam. One of the verses says, the first one rather, Chetujta Darpana Marjanam, cleaning the mirror of the heart. To give us practical instructions, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cleansed the temple twice. His second cleansing was more thorough. The idea was to throw away the stumbling blocks on the path of devotional service. He cleansed the temple with firm conviction, as is evident from his using his own personal garments for cleaning. Even though all dirty things may be cleansed away, sometimes subtle desires remain in the mind for impersonalism, monism, success, and the four principles of religious activity: dharma, arth, kam, and moksha. All these are like spots on clean cloth. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also wanted to cleanse all these away. By his practical activity, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed us how to cleanse our hearts. Once the heart is cleansed, we should invite Lord Sri Krishna to sit down, and we should observe the festival by distributing prasadam and chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to teach every devotee by his personal behavior. Thus, the cleansing of the Gundicha Mandir was conducted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to let us know how the heart should be cleansed and soothed to receive Lord Sri Krishna and enable him to sit within the heart without disturbance. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 12, verse 135. If a devotee considers doing anything separate from Krishna's desire, he is in a spiritually diseased condition. The bitter fruit of material reactions is found only by neglecting to act for the satisfaction of Krishna. Outwardly putting on a show of renunciation and devotion, while actually acting out of the false ego for materially contaminated reasons, is a manifestation of one of the subtle stumbling blocks with which Maya trips up even experienced devotees. A sincere transcendentalist who wants to achieve pure love of Krishna in this life cannot allow his mind to be poisoned by such hypocrisy and deceit, no matter how sugar-coated with so-called spiritual reasons it may externally appear to be. As the devotee progresses in devotional service, he must be very cautious to guard his mind against Maya's subtle tricks. Pride is the first symptom of spiritual fall down. When a devotee becomes proud, he ceases to fear the material energy and considers himself sufficiently advanced to become independent from the order of the spiritual master and the association of the devotees. This puts him firmly under Maya's control, and he then falls solidly off the path of pure devotional service. A devotee should fear false pride and the contamination of the material illusion. Krishna conscious fear is the safeguard which protects the devotee from many pitfalls on the path of pure devotional service. Pride causes the devotee to become careless and vulnerable. A devotee is naturally fearless of death due to the dependence on the protection of Lord Krishna. Nevertheless, a devotee is afraid of the contaminations of the material world which may lead him away from the path of devotional service. Srila Prabhupada praises this fear as a transcendental opulence of a devotee. A person aspiring to attain pure devotional service to Lord Krishna is pure love, or pure love for him should fear Maya's contaminating influence. This point is lucidly explained as follows. A pure devotee is always transcendentally situated because of executing 9 different processes of Bhakti Yoga: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, worshipping, praying, serving, befriending, and surrendering completely. Thus situated in devotional service, a devotee, although in the material world, is not in the material world. Yet a devotee always fears, because I am associated with the material world, so many contaminations affect me. Therefore he is always alert in fear, which gradually diminishes his material association. Symbolically, Mother Devaki's constant fear of Kamsa was purifying her heart. A pure devotee should always fear material association. And in this way, all the asuras of material association will be killed, as the Shat Garbhasuras were killed by Kamsa. It is said that from the mind, Marichi appears. In other words, Marichi is an incarnation of the mind. Marichi has 6 sons: Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad and Matsarya. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness and envy. The Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in pure devotional service. This is confirmed in the Vedas. Bhaktir evenam darshati. Only bhakti can bring one in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared from the womb of Devaki, and therefore Devaki symbolically represents Bhakti. And Kamsa symbolically represents material fear. When a pure devotee always fears material association, his real position of bhakti is manifested, and he naturally becomes uninterested in material enjoyment. When the 6 sons of Marichi are killed by such fear, and one is freed from the material contamination within the womb of bhakti, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears. Thus the 7th pregnancy of Devaki signifies the appearance of Supreme Personality of Godhead after the 6 sons Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad and Matsarya are killed. The Shesha incarnation creates a suitable situation for the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, when one awakens his natural Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna appears. This is the explanation given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 2, verse number 8's purport. Even when Lord Krishna appeared in his Vishnu form, Devaki, Krishna's mother, was fearful that the evil king Kamsa might come to kill Krishna. Overcome by Yogmaya, Krishna's internal potency, out of her motherly affection, she forgot Krishna's unlimited potency as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and considered him dependent on her. She prayed to Krishna to assume the form of a normal baby out of fear that she would not be able to hide baby Krishna in his Vishnu form. Should King Kamsa come, although it is not possible for any demon to kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Overwhelmed by maternal love, Devaki prayed in this way: I understand that this transcendental form is generally perceived in meditation by the great sages, but I am still afraid, because as soon as Kamsa understands that you have appeared, he might harm you. So I request that for the time being you become invisible to our material eyes. This is from Krishna book, The Supreme Personality of Godhead, chapter number 3. A pure devotee of Lord Krishna sees the Krishna consciousness movement as not different from the Lord. The pure devotee is totally absorbed in expanding and protecting the Krishna conscious movement, seeing it as a personal service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This absorption is a symptom of spontaneous pure devotional service. By serving the Krishna consciousness movement in such an intimate and intense way, a devotee increases his love for Godhead more and more. Srila Prabhupada reveals his own deep personal involvement and total devotion to the Krishna consciousness movement in the mood of Devaki's devotion to the Lord Krishna in the following statements. Shukadev Goswami continued, thereafter, having been that her child had all the symptoms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Devaki, who was very much afraid of Kamsa and unusually astonished, began to offer prayers to the Lord. Purport: the word Subhismita meaning astonished is significant in this verse. Devaki and her husband Vasudeva were assured that their child was the Supreme Personality of Godhead and could not be killed by Kamsa, but because of affection, as they thought of Kamsa's previous atrocities, They were simultaneously afraid that Krishna would be killed. This is why the word Suvismita has been used. Similarly, we are also astounded upon thinking of whether this movement will be killed by the asuras or will continue to advance without fear. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, 3.23. According to this verse, it is a duty of the Mahatmas to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and try to spread it all over the world to the best of their ability. Unfortunately, society is in such an uncivilized state that there are so-called Mahatmas who are prepared to kill cows and children and stop the Hare Krishna movement. Such uncivilized activities were actually demonstrated in opposition to the Hare Krishna movement's Bombay Center. Hare Krishna land as Kamsa was not expected to kill the beautiful child of Devaki and Vasudev. The uncivilized society, although unhappy about the advancement of the Krishna consciousness movement, cannot be expected to stop it, yet we must face many difficulties in many different ways. Although Krishna cannot be killed, Vasudev is the father of Krishna, was trembling because in affection he thought that Kamsa would immediately come and kill his son. Similarly, although the Krishna consciousness movement and Krishna are not different and no asuras can check it, we are afraid that at any moment the asuras can stop this movement in any part of the world. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 3, verse number 22's purport. One should not confuse the fear experienced by a devotee with that of a materialist. The devotee's fear of Maya helps him to cling to Krishna's lotus feet, and Krishna in turn bestows fearlessness upon his devotee. Therefore, the devotee's fear of Maya and utter dependence upon Guru and Krishna gives transcendental ecstasy to the devotee. Fully in transcendental knowledge, the devotee is free of the fear of death. Conversely, the materialist's fear is based on insecurity and dread of death. Of his imminent death. Sometimes people boast, "I am not afraid of death," but that is artificial. Everyone in this material world is naturally afraid to die unless they have developed their dormant Krishna consciousness. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna declares, "I am all-devouring death." No one can escape death. No scientist, no philosopher, no high and mighty king, no powerful politician, no do-gooding welfare worker, no matter how materially powerful a person might be, he cannot defeat death. Therefore, death is the realization of God for the atheist. The atheist denies the existence of God, but he is forced to realize the unconquerable potency of God when death overcomes him. Although death is fearful for the materialist, for the pure devotee, it is time to return to Lord Krishna. The devotee does not die, but merely gives up his material body and painlessly attains his eternal spiritual body. Thus, the pure devotee's only fear is of forgetting Lord Krishna due to material contamination. For this very reason, a pure devotee fears Falgu Vairagya as a subtle trick of Maya. Falgu Vairagya whether in the form of the dry renunciation of material objects which is devoid of devotion to Krishna, or the renunciation of the association and service of pure devotees in favor of so-called Nirjan Bhajan. Both are categorically rejected by pure devotees. Falgu Vairagya is a spiritual disease that devastates the Krishna consciousness of the persons who fall under its sway. After contracting the Falgu Vairagya disease, it is almost impossible to become a pure devotee in this lifetime. Therefore, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur strongly advises his readers to remain properly fixed in Yukta Vairagya and never to become bewildered by thoughts of Falgu Vairagya and thus give up the association of the Lord's devotees or to give up devotional practices approved by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So this brings us to the end of verse number 16 of Vaisnava Ke. Next time we will continue with verse number 17. Thank you for joining. Hariam Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.